Hello, welcome to He's Hot, but Something's Off. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Today's unsolicited advice of the episode is if your car is parked on the curb, okay? It's a road, it's a street, park the car on the curb on the side. And if you're going to be getting in and out of that car, don't hang around the side of your car, like checking your phone or taking your time when there's like other cars driving by at like 30, 40 miles an hour. You know, I think they actually teach that in driver's ed. You know, when I took driver's ed, it was, don't open, if you just park the car on the side of the street, you want to, before you open the door and get out of your car, you want to check for traffic so that your door doesn't get taken off. Many, many years ago when I was like a kid, it was like a family friend that had that exact thing happen to them. They parked on the side of the street on a road. They opened their door and they didn't check for traffic. And someone drove into their open driver's door. Thank God for that person that they hadn't stepped out of the car. Otherwise, someone would have crashed straight directly into them. Luckily for them, it was only their door that got taken off. But if you open your door like that, you know that it's probably your fault when it comes to the insurance claim because you're not supposed to do that. I see so many people where they'll be walking up to their parked car on the side of the road. They come around to the driver's side, and then they're very leisurely about, getting in the car. They'll like have the door open. They'll like bend over and like do something in the car. Like, if you need to like be doing something in a car, you might want to just do it from the curbside. Am I making too much sense? Is that too like OCD of a thing? Because I'm personally always very aware of if I'm parked on the side of the road, I don't want to walk up to the door, like the driver's door, the driver's side of the car, the traffic side of the car, when there's cars driving by. I parked my car somewhere yesterday to pick up some food at a restaurant, and I just was standing on the curb until all the traffic. There was like a break in the traffic, but it was a kind of sort of a more narrow road. It wasn't like a super wide road, and I wasn't gonna like just step right out and not look. I don't know. Sometimes I think either I'm overthinking things or like I just try to apply too much common sense to everyday situations. Anyways, take your pick. All right. Today, I wanted to talk about something informational / educational. We're going to go to Joey's school just a little bit. I just recently read in the news that there is a app, some sort of viral dating app called TEA that recently was hacked. Okay, well, technically it's one of the databases that the app uses on the cloud that got compromised. And basically, this is a dating app for women. And the premise is that women could go into this app and what's like the most PC way? Okay, well, this is not a PC podcast. I don't think you should be under any illusion that it is. Apparently, women would go onto this app and exchange stories about men that they've dated, whether they have a good or bad experience. That person maybe is to like warn other women to like be aware of certain men that maybe like we're not good on dates or whatever. I'm not a woman. I am not gonna pretend I know like everything about this app. But anyways, the app got hacked and there has been sensitive information that women have posted onto this app thinking that they could trust this app. And then people's names, contact information, photos that they've uploaded, messages that they've sent, even some like driver's licenses, photos of people's driver's license that they have uploaded to the app have been compromised. And I bring this up because when I read a story like this, having been in tech for so long and having been in like corporate IT for so long, I'm absolutely not surprised as long as we have computers and the internet running everything, there's always going to be stuff that's going to be compromised or hacked, or there'll be like security vulnerabilities in software and things like that. It's just part of kind of like the nature of the systems, if you will. Everybody tries to build secure. Well, some people don't try that hard to build secure systems. Usually, people try to build secure systems to lock them down, but it's like the example of a car. You can have all the fanciest security systems and alarms and immobilizers and door locks and safety glass or whatever on your car. But if someone really, really wanted to steal your car, they can steal it. They can just tow it. And it doesn't matter how fancy or quote unquote secure the systems on your car is. Like, unless your car is like locked in some high security garage somehow, even then there's probably a way to compromise the security on the garage. But like by and large, if you drive your car anywhere, if someone really, really, really wanted to target your particular car, they could just effing tow it. And there's pretty much nothing you can do. Doesn't matter if your car has like 20 cameras on it. And having cameras in your car doesn't prevent someone from stealing it. Just like my HOA also doesn't understand that just by putting more security cameras into our building, that will help reduce the amount of mail and package theft. The cameras don't effing do anything. Anyways, I was reading this story and it's absolutely not a surprise to me. It's like another week or another month, another security incident. Security incidents kind of sort of happen all the time. There's so many IT systems out there. But I bring this up because I really, really want to help at least some of you out there understand how this could really impact your life, because so much of our lives rely on the gadgets that we use, the apps that we use, the cloud, the internet, all of that stuff. That I want to talk a little bit about, just giving you some tips and helping you understand some basic things you can do to help increase the security of your online stuff, your online life. And a lot of these things is not things that are difficult to do. Actually, some of these things will actually make your life a little bit easier. I was explaining to a friend the idea of a password manager, for example. And that's also kind of so where I had this idea as well. Because I was thinking, this friend that is not a tech person, not a gadgets IT person, like average consumer, if you will. And as I was explaining this, his questions about passwords and stuff, and then when he got it, it was like, this is going to be more secure and it's going to make my life easier. And I'm like, that's probably really useful advice. So that's why I decided to talk about this topic today. And also seeing this security incident in the news, it was like, okay, if I can help just like the three of you that are listening to this podcast, help just increase the security of your online life a little bit and possibly maybe reduce the likelihood that your information will be compromised online somewhere, then I think, you know what, maybe it will be worth the hassle of me preaching at the three of you for the duration of this episode. But it's not going to be like, I'm not going to give you 20 things to do. Okay? I think my advice boils down to two things. We're just going to touch on two things. The first thing is just do a little bit of thinking whenever you're going to give an app, a website, any entity, a bunch of your personal information, okay? Whenever you download a new app, or sometimes you have to do something where you need to sign up for an account on a website, they'll ask first name, last name, address, phone number, zip code, email address, mother's maiden name, social security, right? So you always have to be a little bit, at least in this digital day and age, just have to have a little bit of a shield up whenever you are volunteering or being asked for any type of personally identifiable information, okay? Even if it's something as like your birth date, okay? Unless it's like a bank or the government or something that really truly needs my real birthday, I have fake birthdays that I enter into something. Like Twitter, for example. Why does Twitter need to know my real birth date? Why does Instagram need to know a real birth date? For what reason? To like check how old you are? They don't need to know the date and the month. They pretty much just need to know the year. So it's probably against people's terms of service. Like there's absolutely no reason, because a lot of sometimes when I call my bank or credit card company or something and they verify my identity over the phone when I call to customer service, most of the time, one of the things they'll ask me to verify my identity is my birth date. When I go to my doctor or like the health insurance thing, one of the things they ask to verify my identity is my birth date. So I feel like that's one of those things where, because companies do use it to verify identity of someone, that's where like, you know what? I'm gonna be careful with only letting the entities that really need my true birthday know about my true birthday. Like social media companies do not need to know generally what your true birthday is to sign up for some, I don't know, gift card or whatever online. They don't need to know your birthday. Why does Walmart need to know your birthday? Why does Amazon need to know your birthday? Okay, so that's one example. Another thing is your address, where you actually live. Obviously, if you are online shopping, and you want something to be shipped to your house, yes, you have to put your actual address in there. But I actually have a PO box. I'm a little extra with like the online security stuff, but I actually have like a PO box. You can go to like a mail store, a mailbox store, a UPS store, or whatever. You can actually get like mailboxes. I actually have a mailbox address for times where I have to provide an address for whatever reason, but like they don't really need my actual home address. So that's like not something that everyone is going to be in a position to want to do or would need to do. But like, hey, if you're really concerned about not giving your address out, you could also do something like that. But the story is, whenever you're signing up for something or filling out a form or downloading a new app, just think twice about this particular app that I'm downloading, this particular account that I'm creating, this particular thing I'm signing out for, this particular form I'm being asked to fill out. How much of your real personally identifiable information do they really need? Do they really need my social security number? Okay, it's very popular to ask social security numbers now, but do they really need my phone number? Do they really need my zip code? Do they really need my address? Do they really need my birthday? All of that stuff, okay? Some random fitness tracking app probably doesn't need to know your address, okay? And that goes for if you've been asked to upload like a selfie verification photo or like a driver's license or anything, that kind of stuff. Just the information that you give. So I think that's like the first thing to be aware of. And like I said, if the only way to use that app or to sign up for this thing, it's you have to give them a birthday, a address or whatever. I think there's nothing wrong with like, okay, just put in a fake birthday. I do it all the time because like all these services that have to ask for a birthday and it's a mandatory field, and I can't use the app or sign up for an account if I don't do that. It's okay. Well, I actually have like a different birthday, like date of birth, that is like the default one that I use. That is like not my actual birthday, and that fake birthday is the one that I use on all these places that don't really have any business knowing what my real date of birth is. I have different email addresses, for example. Just a couple different. I have kind of sort of one that I save just for like corresponding with my friends and family. It's kind of like it's a very personal email address. And then I have another one that's kind of sort of like the one that I give out. Okay, that I use for like online shopping. The one that I use for signing up for things on like an app or like filling out on a form or things like that. But if I have to like email my sister, I'm going to use the personal one. And if it's Walmart, okay, it's this other one. So email addresses, email accounts, you can go create 10 different email accounts for free. So I don't think, that's something you could do. I'm not saying you have to create different email accounts for everything. But, whenever a form asks you for your email address, you're like, oh, does this form really need my email address? But if they have to, hey, I think having like just a second email account, having two emails is probably a lot of people already have that. And I think it's not a bad idea to have like an email address that's kind of like a personal one that's just for friends and family, people you actually know, and then having the other one for all the corporations and companies and vendors and the retailers out there. So that's just what I do, but you do what you want. The other tip and advice I want to give is Start using a password manager. Okay, so many of you, I just know it in my heart that you really do. I just know that you are reusing passwords, the same password on different apps and websites and things like that. And this is where I was explaining to my friend why that is bad. Because to them, they have to sign up for, like the average person probably has like 50 or 100 or 200 accounts or apps or whatever that have asked them to create a login, and they've had to create a password. Like, who can remember like 100 different passwords? No one. Okay. So they just have the same password that they use for everything. And systems are always asking people to create cryptic, difficult to remember, nonsensical passwords. Like, it has to have uppercase letters and lowercase letters and special characters and numbers. Has to be at least this long. It's horrible. Passwords are actually a horribly insecure way to authenticate someone. There are better systems coming out there, but the vast majority of apps and systems and accounts out there still rely on passwords, okay? So the solution is to use a password manager. Now, why is it bad to use the same password in multiple places? That's bad because let's say you use the exact same password for every single login, every single account for everything, absolutely everything, okay? And let's say one of those apps that you use this password on is this app called T, which I just talked about having compromised, okay? And let's say your password, the one and only password you've ever used for anything, and that you've used to sign for this T app, now that T is hacked, your password is now compromised, okay? And because you handle your email address like candy to everyone that would ask for it, they also probably know your email address. Email addresses are, it's not really like sensitive information, all right? So someone could have taken your password from the hack of this app that you use, and I mean, honestly, if the hack for the app leaked your password, they probably also leaked your email address at the same time. And they will take that email and that password and they'll try, this person probably has an Amazon account. I wonder if they use the same email address and password on Amazon. Maybe they have an American Express card. Maybe they have a Chase checking and savings account. Okay, there's only so many major banks, okay, and there's only so many credit card issuers, honestly. So now the hackers with your password and also your email address, they can and probably will try to log on to different things that you probably have accounts at. And some of those accounts might be very important accounts that you really don't want hackers to get into, like the account where you keep your retirement savings, your checking account, your savings account, your credit cards, like all this kind of stuff, okay? Maybe you have a login for some smart home system. And if a hacker gets into that, maybe now they can start controlling your house, okay? If a hacker is smart enough to be able to like get your password from an app that was hacked, they're probably smart enough to be able to figure out, do a Google search on your name and maybe your address, your email address, and be like, oh, it looks like this email address is associated with, like a Citibank credit card. This email address looks like it's been associated with this service, or like kind of sort of not the hardest thing to look up on the internet. So that scenario is why you do not want to use the same password in multiple places. Okay, because if you use it on 100 apps, anytime one of those apps gets compromised and your password is now leaked out because of that one app that got hacked, hackers will try to take that password and use it in your other accounts. That's why it is bad. Just like you don't have, in an apartment building, okay, every tenant has a different key. The key for one unit in the apartment doesn't work for another one. Like, it's kind of the same principle, right? You don't want someone thinking, oh, I just need to get the apartment key for one of the tenants in this 100 unit apartment building, and then I can get into every, like, that's stupid, right? Like, that's the same kind of reason you do not use the same password in multiple accounts. Okay. Like sometimes people, like so-called IT experts, keep saying that, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand why. Like my friend didn't understand why. Oh, like, well, I'm asked to, his explanation was, well, I'm asked to create passwords with all these different things. I can only remember like, I'm not gonna remember 100 different passwords. I'm just gonna use the same password for everything. Okay. So now that you understand why it's a bad idea to have the same password in multiple places, you are also thinking, well, how am I supposed to like come up with and remember 100 different passwords? You're not going to, because you're going to get a password manager, which is software, is an app that will remember the passwords for you. Okay. So if you have 100 different, retailers, apps, websites, logins, what have you, the password manager will remember the passwords for you. Okay. Now that you have a password manager remembering passwords for everything you need to log into, now you can actually set different passwords because you don't have to worry about remembering 100 passwords. The password manager will remember 100 passwords. Okay. Obviously, if you do use the same password for multiple things now, to move on to using a password manager, you're probably going to have to like set unique passwords for each of the logins. Yes, that is a bit of a hassle because most of you probably do have like 100 logins somewhere over the years of all the various things you need to like log into. So, but that's like a one-time thing. You just set up the password manager once. You go to the websites you log into and just change the password. A password manager will also help you generate passwords. Okay, so let's say you are trying to sign up for some brand new thing, a brand new app, you download it, and it's asking you to create a username and create a password. Well, you can just open up your password manager and tell it, okay, for this website or app or whatever, you can put in the username, and a lot of these password managers have a password generator that will come up for you, generate for you a new random password whenever you need to change your password for an existing account or to create a new password for something new you're signing up for. Okay, so it even takes that part, the hassle of having to like come up with a password that meets all these cryptic requirements, uppercase letters, lowercase letters, whatever. Password managers, they will, pretty much all the password managers will also generate these passwords for you. And once it's generated, it will also save it for you automatically. So it also really makes the process of like creating new passwords and remembering the passwords really easy. Password managers also fill in the password for you for an account that it recognizes. So when you go to Amazon.com and then Amazon dumps you to the login screen with the password manager, if you have the Amazon password stored in there properly, it's going to actually like prompt you and have like a little thing that pops up that will offer to fill in your Amazon password that the password manager has saved and therefore remembers for you automatically. So a password manager, these are just a few ways where a password manager can really make your life a lot easier. You pretty much don't have to type in passwords. It really minimizes the amount of password typing you have to do. It remembers the passwords for you in a secure way. It encrypts all the passwords that it remembers for you. It's not like some sticky note on your computer. And then also generate passwords for you whenever you need to sign up for something new or whenever you need to change the password on an existing login. Password managers do like a few more things, but at the core, those are like the three things that a good password manager will do. It will remember your passwords for you, it will generate new passwords for you, and it will also autofill the passwords when it's time to log into something. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, isn't it really insecure and bad to put all your passwords in one basket? Okay. You're entrusting this password manager with like the 100 passwords that you have to log into your bank, your credit cards, your retirement accounts, whatever it is. So in a way, just the idea, I can understand why you would think, okay, it's a bad idea to just put all my passwords into this one place. The thing is, the risk of you using the same password on multiple different apps and websites is way riskier. Doing that is way riskier than putting all your passwords into a password manager. Okay? Password managers, a good one anyways, whenever you put passwords or any information into it, all that information should be encrypted with a master password. Different password managers do it a little differently, but like for most password managers, there'll be one password, sometimes called like a primary or a master password, and that password you will use to unlock the encrypted data within that password manager. And all data, including all the passwords you put into the password manager, is encrypted. So theoretically, with a well-designed, good password manager, let's say someone stole your laptop, okay? And you have your password manager and everything on it. So like the password manager's data, the data the password manager stores for you is on the hard drive of that laptop, is in the storage of that laptop. Let's say someone steals your laptop and you don't have a screen lock. By the way, you should have a screen lock on all your devices. Let's say someone just like rips your laptop from you at an airport, okay? The screen is unlocked, blah, 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 blah. But to get to the password manager, you need the password. And if they don't have the password, they can't undo that encryption, okay? So even if they got to like the actual data file of the password manager on your laptop's hard drive, without the password, it's just encrypted gibberish, okay? Breaking encryption is very, very, very difficult. Not absolutely impossible, but it's something like it would take X number of millions of years to like break the type of encryption that is commonly used these days in IT systems. Okay, we're getting a little too technical, but basically, it is like exponentially safer to keep all your passwords in a password manager where the password and all the data you put into the password manager is done with strong encryption, is protected with strong encryption, than to use your passwords on multiple logins on websites. Because servers and apps get hacked like on the daily. A lot of the times you don't hear about it. That random thing you had to make an account for 5 years ago, that you had to make an account for once and you use that thing once and you don't even remember that you signed up for that thing, that could have gone hacked yesterday and you have no idea about it. But it's not an app that you ever use anymore. You'll only use that app once for like this one-time thing. You used it for 5 seconds and you forgot about it. Like, I don't even remember what I ate yesterday, honestly. So there's so many ways that we're always asked to create logins and make passwords all the time now. And I know so many of you are reusing passwords. That is so much of a greater risk than you putting all your passwords into a encrypted password manager. I know this is a lot of information to take in, but with how digital and online all our lives are, and me having like the IT background, I just really, really want you guys to, if you really are using different passwords for everything out there and you're already using a password manager, you're already, less of a target than most of the people out there. Because I don't think most people use a password manager. I don't know what the latest stats are, but it wasn't that long ago that most people were not using password manager and that most people were reusing passwords, i.e. using the same password on multiple logins. So if you can just take the time, it is a little bit of a hassle if you do reuse passwords, on multiple logins and systems and apps right now. You are going to have to sit down one lazy Sunday afternoon when you have absolutely nothing better or more fun to do to go into your logins, at least the logins where, hold payment information or like your financial accounts, at least start there. All the bank accounts that you have, retirement accounts, financial accounts, broker accounts, credit card accounts, any kind of financial institution, at least start there. You don't have to change all your passwords in one Sunday afternoon sitting, okay? But you can break it up. The first step is to just get a password manager. The one that I use is called 1Password. I've used like a few of the different ones out there. 1Password is the one that I like the most and I feel like works like the most seamlessly on like Windows and Macs and iPhones and Android. That's one I prefer. If you are a Google person, Google has its own password manager on Android. If you're a Apple fanboy, Apple has an app called Passwords that kind of sort of does the same thing. I've got Windows computers and Mac computers and iPhones and Android. So I need my solution to work on all the different platforms. So I've got with 1Password. But there are some other good ones out there. LastPass is also popular as well. Just make sure you're using one that is like from a large, well-known, reputable company. So Apple, Google, 1Password is a really popular one. That's also quite a secure one. LastPass is another one. I haven't recently gone shopping, but I'm just gonna limit my recommendations to those four. As a first step, but this seems intimidating. As a first step, just get the password manager set up. Don't even put any passwords into it. Okay, just get the password manager set up, because you need to download an app or whatever for it. You need to set a kind of primary or encryption password for the password manager, kind of the one password that will secure all the data you put into it in the future. Just start there, okay? And then maybe tomorrow or the next weekend, just start with your financial accounts, okay? Just go through your checking account, maybe the login for your savings account, the login for your retirement account, so if you have those, and just change the password, okay? And have the password manager generate the password for you, brand new password that have never been used before, and have the password manager remember that password so that you don't have to, and then take that password, set it into whatever financial institution you're dealing with at that moment. Just start there, okay? And then think about what other really critical logins are really critical services and apps that you might use, okay? Any login that would give access to money that you have or could be used to spend money. Every online retailer wants to save your credit card information. I don't personally like doing that, because Target, okay, let's say Target. Let's say you shop at Target once in a while and you have Target save your credit card information, because all these websites offer to save your credit card information. If Target gets hacked and they get your credit card information, that's like a whole other can of worms to have to clean up. But a lot of these password managers, actually, they don't only remember your password, they can also remember other things for you. So for example, I know the Google one and also 1Password, I think probably the Apple one, I'm pretty sure does too, but I know for sure the Google Password Manager and 1Password, they can also save your credit card information. So if you don't feel comfortable having Walmart or Amazon or any place where you do online shopping remember your credit card information for you, but you don't want to have to manually type out your credit card information every single time you buy a box of tissue paper, you can just have your password manager autofill that for you. And that's what I do, because a lot of the times when I go shopping online, I don't have my credit card with me. I don't remember my credit card numbers. A lot of times I don't want the credit card saved in Amazon's systems or in Walmart systems or in whatever, right? But again, it's the more information you give to one of these companies, and if any one of those companies get hacked, then that information is out there. I trust my password manager more to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, you also want to think about, if there's any logins that would allow someone to spend your money. So a lot of that is any sort of online shopping. So let's start there. The ultimate goal is that for anything noteworthy you have to log into, it'll have a unique password just for that app or website, and it'll be stored in the password manager so that the password manager can fill it in for you, and you don't ever have to type a password into an app or website again. All you need to know is the password for the password manager. That's just one single password, and then the password manager would take it from there. Okay, I think this might have been the most technical episode of the podcast I've ever done. But, I just feel so strongly about it. Having come from IT background and just seeing stuff stuff gets hacked every day. You have no idea. It doesn't make it's not headline news on CNN. Okay, a lot of times when stuff gets hacked, but the amount of stuff that gets compromised, and you can't always trust a company to really build secure systems. And even building a secure system is a bit of a misleading statement, because again, just with that car example, if someone really wants to hack into something, they probably could. The big, huge tech companies, they do really an excellent job securing their system, because they know that a Google or a Facebook or an Apple clearly are big, huge targets because they have tons of information on everyone, right? they're obviously huge targets. They do get lots of entities that try to compromise their systems, but like that's like that top elite level of tech companies that where, hey, they're not perfect. You know, they do from time to time experience certain security incidents. By and large, their systems are extremely secure because that's just the environment that they operate in. When you're a Google or a Facebook, like you kind of they have hundreds of people that are on their security teams where the only thing they do is keep their system safe. It's probably in the thousands, honestly. But yeah, you know, like the random John, whoever that is creating some random app and just throws it online, you can't really count on a random software developer, software engineer to know all the ins and outs of how to secure people's data that they collect from an app that they've built. So this T app, for example, it's founded by a software engineer that had this great idea for this app. The idea for the app was great, but you know, clearly the security engineer was not a security person. I don't know what they've done in terms of like security audits or their security design or information security policies or anything, but clearly it wasn't good enough for them to have prevented all this data from leaking out. As far as I can tell, for that particular incident, it was just poor configuration, poor engineering of their defenses. It wasn't like, yeah, there you go. Hopefully some of you are still listening. Of the three of you that usually listen to this podcast, maybe there's only like one of you still listening, but please use a password manager. Please change your password so that I don't ever have to hear about any one of you guys like lose any of your money or have your stuff compromised or anything like that. But if somehow you found this topic interesting, leave a comment down below. I wonder how many of you actually found this interesting. Probably none of you, but if you're out there, I would love to hear from you. But until next time, bye y'all.